What's going on, people? It's your boy Kelechi back with another video. If this is your first time around these parts, hit that subscribe button. If you enjoy anything that we talk about on this video, hit that like button. This video, we're going to make it quick. We're going to make it short because there was some major news that was dropped last night when I was doing my little research and reading articles and all this stuff. And I saw a couple of things, two things in particular. One has to do with Fidelity and Bitcoin, and the other one has to do with SoFi and its act of democratizing investing for the little guy, for the retail investors like you and I. So we're just going to go ahead and get started. We'll start off with the SoFi news. So SoFi decided that enough is enough. The little guy needs to get in at these IPO prices and be able to buy these shares without having to be some kind of accredited investor. By the way, if you don't know what an accredited investor is, an accredited investor is somebody who has a net worth of over $1 million or earns $200,000 annually. And if you're married, that number goes up to $300,000 annually. So SoFi was like, nah, that's enough. We're not doing that anymore. And last night, I was just doing my usual bills, paying bills, all that good stuff. And then I saw this. I was like, IPO at IPO prices. And then I was like, whoa, is this actually real? And it actually is real. They said, get in on the IPO action at IPO prices in the SoFi app. Eligible active investors can participate in upcoming IPOs before they trade on an open exchange only in the SoFi app. If you don't know what an IPO is, an IPO is initial public offering. This is when a company goes from being private to being public. So basically, here's how you meet the eligibility to become somebody who can be able to do this. In order to participate, you need at least $3,000 across all your SoFi accounts, which means SoFi Invest and also SoFi Crypto. And then you have to submit an indication of interest for that order and then confirm your buy, which is so much easier than the way you have to do it right now. So much easier than the way you have to do it. Why this is a big deal is, like I said earlier, in order for you to usually get access to any of these IPO prices, you have to be an accredited investor, which means you have to have a whole lot of money. In other words, you had to already be rich. The little guys like us could not get into it. Like, for example, just think of how big this is going to be. Think of how big this is. When Roblox IPO'd, remember, I made a whole video about Roblox and how it's IPO'd. By the way, if you want to check out that video, click up here. When Roblox IPO'd, it was supposed to go at $45 a share, but it exploded to $73 on the first day. Now it's about $64 or so. I don't think Roblox will ever go down to $45 ever again. If we look at another one, Unity, which was another one that everybody wanted to get in. If you don't know what Unity is a game developer. A lot of games use Unity to make their games, like Pokemon Go, Call of Duty Mobile, Fall Guys. All these games use Unity as their background to be able to create the games. It was supposed to be priced at $52, but when it opened up, it was $75 when it opened share. There's another example. You look at DoorDash. It was supposed to be $102, but it opened at $182 and closed on the IPO day at $189. Of course, it's come down a little to earth. I think right now it's at, I can't really see the price, but it's come a little bit back to earth. But the point is, it's never going to go back unless something really bad happens with the business. It's not coming back down to this $102 per share. And then also we look at one of my favorite businesses, Airbnb, which I wanted to buy, but I couldn't. It opened at $68 and has not come back down to it. It closed the first day of trading at $146. That's when you and I could actually buy into Airbnb. But then today, Airbnb is trading at like $182. It's never going to go back down to this $68. The point is, SoFi doing this completely changes everything for you and I. Completely allows us to not actually be part of the inner circle, allows us to actually buy into companies that we really believe in going forward, rather than it only being allowed for only a select few, for a very few people, the 1% who are already rich, who are already making a whole bunch of money to be able to invest in that. So this is great news. And then this morning, when I was reading some more articles, when I was trying to put this whole thing together, we find out that Robinhood is also doing the same thing. And I think they're going to try and do this. I just made a video recently about Robinhood's IPO. They're going to try and do this with Robinhood's IPO. So this is cool. It's really good to actually see that the little guys, that we are finally getting changes in the way that money is done. We're finally getting changes in the way that for the longest of time, to be honest, we couldn't access a lot of things. We couldn't do venture capital, which is really how you build a lot of wealth. If you invest in businesses that are just starting out, just think about if you saw Facebook before Facebook was going to be a big thing. Because let's be honest, young people like you and I are the ones who usually see what's coming first. It's not the old dudes, it's the young people who usually see what's coming first, because the old dudes are stuck in their ways. I'm going to be like that when I get older, where I don't want to change for new technologies. So usually we can see that things are changing before anybody else sees that things are changing. And so we should be able to invest in those businesses that are currently changing the way that we're doing things, and we see a future for it as well. That's just my opinion. I love it. This is awesome. Awesome to see, especially for anybody that's like me, that reads a lot about companies and wants to just invest in companies early on. Even though we know it's going to be a turbulent time, but if you focus on 10 years down the road, what is this company going to look like? It may be turbulent at the start, at the price right now, but eventually it's going to factor out. That's just, for me, this is big. This is very, very big. It changes the way that the markets have worked and have always worked in favor of those who already have money. And then the next thing I want to touch on is Fidelity. Fidelity is looking to launch a Bitcoin ETF. It's probably going to be the first one on the US stock exchange. Fidelity has announced plans to launch an exchange-traded fund that tracks the price of Bitcoin. FD Funds Management, a subsidiary of Fidelity, on Wednesday submitted an S-1 filing to the Securities and Exchange Commission outlining its intention to financially back the ETF. In the past year, the price of Bitcoin has jumped 687% to about $52,790. Last year, Bitcoin was trading at about $5,000. Just keep that in mind. The ETF, called Wise Origin Bitcoin Trust, will track the cryptocurrency through the Fidelity Bitcoin Index, which takes spot prices from various Bitcoin markets, including popular exchanges. So this is interesting and key to note. Fidelity is not actually going to own Bitcoin. It's kind of a derivative of Bitcoin. But the point is, if Fidelity is doing this, if Fidelity is deciding to go into this market, it tells us two things. One, we can no longer make the argument about, is Bitcoin a real thing? Is it official? We're seeing too many companies get into it. We already saw Square. We already see PayPal. We already saw Visa, MasterCard. And we're seeing established businesses like MassMutual get into it. We're seeing companies like Tesla get into it. We're seeing Apple Pay allow for people to pay with Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is becoming a regular thing. It's becoming part of the fabric of our society, no matter how much we may like it or not like it. So it's becoming part of it. But I think this is even more of a bigger thing, because this speaks to the fact that Fidelity is probably getting a lot of questions. Also, this is probably something Fidelity has been working on for a while. It's not something, I doubt it's something new. I talked about this on my podcast, which, by the way, if you want to check out the podcast, link down in the description. I talked about this on my podcast, that we're going to see more and more of these kind of announcements happening with the cryptocurrency as more companies get used to the idea of it and start being asked by investors and shareholders about, hey, they're doing cryptocurrency. Why aren't you doing Bitcoin as well? So that's going to become a regular and more regular thing. And so as more people ask about it, Fidelity is like, fine. We'll give you guys something to use. Just know that this is not yet available, because they just filed the S1 for it. So it's just interesting. I love this. This is a big thing for Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is going to continue riding this wave. I don't know how long this wave is going to last. I don't know what is going to happen, but for all those who have been riding Bitcoin from the beginning, congratulations. Y'all are probably millionaires by now. And so, yeah, just two things that I wanted to share real quick. One was going to be on SoFi, and the other one was going to be on Robinhood, with both of them trying to democratize investing for the little guys like you and I. By the way, down in the description below, I have a link to SoFi if you want to go check them out. SoFi Money and also SoFi account. By the way, if you open an account with SoFi and you deposit $500, they're going to give you $50. And also, if you deposit $5,000 to start investing on SoFi, they'll give you $50 as well. I know that one's going to be hard for a lot of people, but just something to keep in mind. I never like leaving free money on the table. So if you have some free money around, set up the SoFi account and get yourself some free money. Also, I have a link down there to Robinhood as well. So all of these platforms are trying to democratize investing for the little guys, and I love to see it. I am here for it. And Bitcoin is going to continue riding the wave of Bitcoin. But anyway, that's all I got for y'all. I hope y'all learned one, maybe two things out of this entire thing. And if you did, hit that like button. If you enjoyed it, hit that subscribe button. I'm going to catch y'all up on the next one. Remember, generosity is always greater than greed. God bless each and every single one of y'all, and I'm out. Peace. Whoosh.